Good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it is where you're at. What I want to do is I wanted to tell you a little bit about the plate tectonics lab. Sometimes it's easier to have me just walk this one through with you just a little bit. This lab has two parts. One, we're going to try to put two continents together based on the age of the rocks. And the second part is to look at different places where plates are coming together and moving apart and see if we can figure out what type of fault or what type of area that is that you can see. So on to the first one. So this is tectonic land. And we think tectonic land, which is two different continents, may have once been one big continent. It kind of looks like the shorelines kind of match up, and maybe these mountains match up too. But we want to be able to do some research to figure out whether or not they did or not. So what you're going to do, you're going to print this off, and you're going to cut around each of the continents. Yes, you're going to make friends with that inner child back to kindergarten where you learn those cutting skills. So cut these two pieces apart and then come back for the next part. Now, hopefully you've already cut your two continents apart. I didn't, but I think you can figure out what's going on. Now, these little numbered spots, those were where different rock samples were taken. And we are going to look at those different samples to see the approximate age of the rocks at those locations. Now, information about those locations is given on this sheet. So this one says the location, what radioactive isotope was used, and then what's the percent remaining. So for instance, the first one says we use uranium-238, and it's 67.5% of the originals remaining. So then what you do, you get out the third piece of paper. Now this one has our radioactive decay curves. We have different lines drawn for each of the elements. We have the age in billions of years along the bottom, and then we also have the percent along the side. So I'm going to draw on the screen, hopefully. So the first particular sample was uranium-238. So let's see here, uranium-238 is this example right here. And we want to go to 67%, which is around in here. I can't draw very good on this. You're going to make the line to where the uranium-238 line is, and then you're going to go down. And you're going to find out that that particular sample was right at 3 billion years old. So I would go back to my original, I'd find number 1, I'd write a little 3 beside it because it's 3 billion years old. And I'm going to do that for each of my rock samples on here. Then you're going to see if you can fit them together. There may be a hint on maybe this sheet. So check it out, see what you can find. The second part of the lab deals with trying to figure out plate movement. So down here I have several different examples, and you'll see letters that are drawn to where different plates are meeting. So I want you to identify the type of plate boundary there is. So we have 3 different types that we look at. The first is called subduction, or you'll hear the term convergent, subduction or convergent, and that's where 2 plates are going to meet. Now they could be going right at one another, or maybe a little bit sideways, but one's going to be forced underneath the other. So one's forced underneath that subduction or convergent. The next type is divergent. Divergent means that they're moving apart from one another. And then we have transform. And transform, they're moving parallel in opposite directions. So with the subduction or the convergent, we're destroying rock. Divergent, we're producing new rock because magma wells up in those empty spots. And the transform, where they're moving parallel, it doesn't make rock or destroy rock, but you get lots of earthquakes at that one. Actually do at many of them. So try to identify those on your sheet. The one that you have printed, I don't have it on the one I'm looking at right now on my screen. Sorry. It actually has some letters A, B, C, D. So make sure to print this one out because you only have to tell me those particular ones as to the type of plate boundary. Good luck.